So I've closed deals for some of the biggest names in the online space: Brez Scales, Iman Gadzhi, Section 8 Kareem, guys doing 8-9 figures a year. And after working behind the scenes with these creators, I've learned some things about high ticket sales that completely changed how I approach every single call. Most people think closing high ticket deals is about having the perfect script or perfect objection handling techniques. But after being on the inside with these top creators, I can tell you that's not what separates the top closers from everybody else. And in this video, I'm going to share with you lessons I learned working with them. Lessons that took my close rate from 20 to 60% plus. Lessons that you'll never hear talked about in any other sales training. For those who don't know me, I'm Jacoby. I've been in the high ticket sales space for over 4 years now, and I've had the opportunity to close for some of the biggest creators in this industry. I've closed deals for Brez Scales, Iman Gadzhi, worked with Tuzer on his ecom mentorships, and closed deals for Section 8 Kareem's real estate mentorship. A lot of these guys are doing $1 million a month plus, and I was able to see their teams grow from the very beginning to that point, and see a lot of these guys even do this completely organically without any ads, and get to see what it looks like on the inside of these big info businesses, these creators that you guys see on social media. So after working across all these different niches, here's what I learned about high ticket sales that nobody talks about. Sales lesson number 1, they pre-handle everything before the pitch. The first thing I noticed working with these top creators is their best closers never get objections. And it's not because they get better leads. It's because they pre-handle every single objection before the pitch. Working with Iman, I learned how to overcome the I need to think about it objection. The classic, most famous one that you probably heard. Maybe you even come across it on your own sales calls. People would say, oh, I need to think about it. And you know what I would say? I'd say, okay, that's fair. Now, let me ask you, when you do go and think about it, what is exactly that's coming up for you that's making you want to do that, just to see if I can help? And they're going to tell you the real reason. Most of the time, it's a smokescreen, and the underlying reason has to do with something related to fear, money, or logistics. And once they tell me, then I ask them, now, John, do you feel like this can actually get you to where you're trying to be in life? Insert X and X. So, John, do you feel like this program and everything I just went over can actually get you to the point where you're making $10,000 a month, able to live the laptop lifestyle and travel to Bali like you told me, right? And now notice my tonality as well when I say that I emphasize feel and can, because people buy on emotion. And I have an upward tonality at the end of my question. I bring the chair metaphorically on their side, and I try to help them solve the problem that's holding them back. Okay, and I isolate fear, money, and logistics. Okay, and I solve the objection. Right? People want to buy things from people they trust, from people that they like at the end of the day, and that they respect. Okay, so the moment that you have an objection, most people combat it, and that's a human response. People think and they know that you're going to probably push back, so naturally we agree with them and we try to help them, and they're going to be able to buy. Okay, and by the time I actually go and ask for the sale again, their brain has nothing left to object. Most closers will wait for the objections, but the best closers will pre-handle them before the objections even come up. Before you even get to the pitch, in the discovery, you can even pre-handle objections. You can sense, you can tell when you're on a call with somebody and they're a little bit hesitant. Address it. Just address the elephant in the room. No need to beat around the bush. Ask them, hey man, are you feeling a little bit hesitant? Yeah, honestly, I am. Okay, that's totally fine, right? Agree with them. If you weren't a little bit hesitant, you weren't a little bit weary, I would question if you were even human. That's a good sign. That means that you're going against something that you normally wouldn't want to do. You're looking to take a risk, and humans don't ever get anywhere without being uncomfortable. So you have to take that risk. So that's a good sign. Okay, now let's continue. What is it a little bit that's making you a bit hesitant on this? Is there anything else I can give you a bit more clarity on? Do you have any questions about what I've been talking about? How do you feel, right? And have an honest, genuine conversation with them, and you're gonna be able to dispel any kind of feeling they might have that's holding them back, or any kind of feeling where they're maybe a little bit hesitant and maybe they don't trust you. Okay, so just address it. Sales lesson number 2, discovery is everything. Working across so many different offers taught me that discovery is where 80% of the sale is made. You can almost feel the energy in the room when it's the right time to transition from a discovery into the close of the pitch. This is a sixth sense. This is a skill that you have to develop. You have to slowly crack them just enough. Keep cracking them until you build that rapport with them that you feel like, okay, now's the time that I can transition and talk to them about what I feel like can actually help them. And once you get to that point, it's gonna be clear to you and you won't question it. But I will say there are points where you will go into the pitch too soon, but it can never be too late. So don't worry about taking too much time on the discovery. More information is only going to help you make the sale even better. So don't worry, but make sure you're getting questions, you're asking why, you're getting clarity, because the only way you can actually sell someone is understand their current situation, understand where they're trying to go specifically and emotionally, and the feeling behind both of those before you can actually present your solution as the bridge, the gap, that transformation to actually help them get there. So once you have a clear picture of where they are and where they're trying to go, makes your job as a salesperson, as a closer, much easier to actually ask for the sale. When I was closing on Tuzer's ecom program, I learned how to dig deep into the why. Not just I want to make money online, but why not keep doing what you've done up until this point? Everyone else does that. Everyone else pursues the 9 to 5. Why are you so interested? Why are you even here today on this call? Like, bro, you don't have to do this. Nobody's forcing you to do this. What's the real reason behind why you're trying to actually do this? What's your real motivation? What happens if you stay in the same situation a year from now and do nothing? How's that going to make you feel? Once you're making $10,000 a month, what's that going to be to allow you to do then that you can't do now? future pace them? What would the John who's making $10,000 a month do in a situation like this to get to where he wants to be? I get them to paint a very clear, detailed picture of exactly what they want from life. They state their current pain because pain is a motivator, okay? People either do things out of inspiration or desperation, and they state clearly their desired future and where they're trying to go. And very important, that they need help from you. They have to state it. You cannot tell them. So you need to ask them questions to get them to state that to you. Where are they? Where do they want to be? Can you help them? And do they want to make a change? And by the time I actually pitch them, they're selling themselves to me. One of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of closers make is rushing through the pitch. Okay, people don't buy a pitch. They don't buy features. People buy from you. They buy based on emotion and they buy transformation. That's what sells. And you can only truly understand what kind of transformation someone needs by proper clarity and discovery. Sales lesson number 3, tonality beats scripts every single time. And I don't even like to use the word scripts for that exact reason, because scripts implies that you're reading word for word something. With my guys, with my students, with what I do is I use a framework. There's certain pillars that you need to hit that are important, but what's even more important than what you say is how you actually say it. And this one was huge for me when I was working for Section 8 Kareem's real estate offer. I learned that how you actually say something, the way you deliver it, the tonality, the pacing, the timing, all that destroys what you actually say. Because I can give 2 closers the exact same framework or script, and one will have a 70% plus close rate and one will barely hit 20%. When I lower my voice, okay, and I lean in during the pitch, that tells you there's something important, okay, or I lean back. Okay, I use my body language. We're on Zoom calls for a reason. Let's actually show ourselves, right? Slowing your speech, leaving space, using your eyebrows, your eyes, your lips. How you speak to someone, the way you speak to someone is so crucial in actually getting the sale. And this is something that's very tough to teach. We do this a lot with my students, with mock calls, with practicing, with role plays, but at the end of the day, it just comes from doing hundreds and hundreds of sales calls. And you get good, the more people you talk to, the more feedback you get, and you learn how to actually speak to different types of people. Type A's, how do you actually speak to, older demographics? How do you speak, B2B or D2C? How does it actually look when you're speaking to somebody? And understanding them, mirroring them, being a consultative person, have a consultative questioning framework, just like a doctor or a tax consultant or anyone who's trying to help somebody solve a certain problem. We ask questions to see where they're at, to see how we can best present a solution to get them to where they want to be. But this all comes from delivery. A master salesperson lowers their voice during the pitch. People pay more attention when you talk quiet or you whisper, because it means that it has value. When I use upward inflection during discovery, people open up more. So just tell me a little bit about why it is exactly that you feel that way and you haven't been able actually to solve the problem you're in currently now, just to see how I can help. Most people focus on memorizing scripts. The best closers focus on tonality and delivery and timing. Sales lesson number 4, qualification is more important than closing. What do I mean by that? I'm good at sales. I've been doing this a long time. If I want to close somebody, I can close them. I can ask them the right questions. I can get them super hyped up and I can push them over the edge and I can make them buy something. I can do that. Okay, as a salesperson, that's easy for me. But what's very important is the quality of the person we're speaking to. Are they actually qualified? Is this actually going to help them in their current situation? Because if not, me pushing them over the edge isn't going to do anything for the company, because they're going to charge back later. They're not being emotionally committed. They're not actually going to show up to actually put those action steps in to get the results that they're looking for. So it won't matter in the end anyways. And something that blew my mind is the best closers disqualify early on in the call. The goal is to help these prospects. That's what a good salesperson does. Are they a good fit? So subconsciously, what I'll do is I will try to get a no. A no for me is a yes to most people. I used to think my job was to close every single person that got on the call with me. But after working with some of these top creators, I found out that actually closing unqualified people will hurt your close rate in the end and waste everybody's time. And I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. I got this from my first student. He would purposely not pitch people unless they were qualified. He would get them to prove themselves to him first. So now I basically spend the first 10 minutes of every single call trying to understand, is this prospect actually going to buy from me? Is this gonna be a good fit? Are they gonna be willing to invest in themselves? Because if they're not, we'll end the call early. I'll save myself emotion. I'll save myself energy from objection handling. It'll be better for both of us. This improved my close rate drastically, because once I started doing this, I ended up only pitching people that were actually ready to buy. Sales lesson number 5. Sales proof needs to be very specific. When I first started closing, I used to use very generic social proof. I'd say, oh yeah, we've gotten thousands of results, or we've helped a ton of people do this, blah, 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 yada, yada. Working with these 8-figure creators taught me that specific social proof is 10x more powerful. Instead of saying our students make money, I'd ad say Jesse quit his job and in 6 weeks made $10,000. Or Nacho, who went from being a non-native English speaker to closing a $30,000 deal before joining me in Bali. See, when you hear a name, you hear a specific situation, the story just hits more and it gives you more of like a relatability to the actual person that's telling you about it. And it makes you want to actually find out more and be more curious. It's also more relatable. And I found out that a lot of people, a lot of prospects and students and people that are getting on these calls, they see this coach or this creator and they see them as, obviously someone who's successful, but they're so far removed from their actual reality, it's hard for them to connect. So when they actually can connect themselves to somebody's story that's similar to them, it helps them sell themselves on this idea a lot easier. Sales lesson number 6, money's in the follow-up, guys. Don't neglect it. And this was probably one of the biggest revelations, and so many salespeople talk about it, but it's not what happens on the call, what happens on your exact booked calendar, but what happens before the call and everything that happens following up and after the call that increases your close rate. A lot of closers just show up, they take the calls booked on their calendar. If the person doesn't show, that's cool. But working with these top creators, I found out that 20 to 30% of closes comes from the follow-up game. And a lot of people will do a follow-up maybe once a week, maybe a couple times a week. You need to do follow-up every single day. It's crucial. And the key is really how you follow up. Okay, it's not about just sending a quick message, but it's sending specific social proof, like I already talked about, that relates to their story, testimonials, sending a voice note, calling them, okay, just being super like on it, addressing their concerns, pre-handling objections, and just making sure you're keeping them hot and warm. Because you got to remember, as soon as that person gets off the call with you, you no longer matter to them. The emotion they felt on the call declines over 50% every single day after that call. And they're going to go back to their busy life. They're going to go back to their comfort zone, and they're not going to continue thinking about making a change in their life because it's not going to be easy. So you have to push them on that call. You have to help them reframe their beliefs to really actually make an action step and make a risk and do something that's going to change their life. So after the call, it makes it even harder. So whenever you're talking about money, whenever you're talking about overcoming a concern or they have any kind of questions, speak to them on the phone. So what I mean is afterwards, you get their number, they should have your personal contact or business number, and you follow up, you call them. Okay, they have a concern, they text you a concern. Don't just send them a paragraph text explaining it or a voice note, but allude to the fact that you have a solution for them and then give them a buzz. Make them want to call you, make them want to talk to you. Okay, don't just say, hey, I'm following up, but say, try to call them. They don't answer. Try to call them again. They don't answer. Leave them a quick voice note. Okay, hey, John, something came up. I know on our call the other day, you were a little bit hesitant on, a couple things. You said you're really down to do this, but, maybe finances were a bit an issue for you. I know I told you on the call that everyone pays up front. But, I just spoke to X and, give me a call when you can. I think I have something that might be able to help you out in your situation. That entices them. They're going to give you a call. And then on the call, you can overcome their objection. You can maybe present a payment plan, or maybe you can present a discount, or whatever you're going to do. That's how you close a deal. I once had a prospect where I had 3 follow-up calls after the initial call, and it was a $10,000 program. I made $1,000 in commission. If I had never followed up, I never would have made that money. And sales lesson number 7, the urgency must be real, guys. All you salespeople who are doing this fake urgency, bro, people can read through that. Don't be salesy. Come on. People know that. People know that. I've worked across so many different offers, and when they tell you this fake stuff, bro, like people are smart. They've been on calls now. Like, it's not like the first sales call they've ever been on. They know when you're saying that it's the last spot, that it's not actually the last spot. But what you can say is, look, we've had a lot of results. Our students are doing very, very well. Right now, obviously the investment for this is this price. I don't know if it's going to stay that same. We only have a limited amount of coaches, so there is actually a cap that we can only take on. If you come back in a month, 2 months, 6 months from now, likelihood is we're probably going to raise those prices just to accommodate those growing numbers. Like, be honest with people. People appreciate that, and they're going to be real with you. The best closers I worked with didn't create fake urgency. They asked questions to their prospects to help them reframe, to understand the cost of waiting. Let's be real, guys. What happens if you actually wait a week, a month, a year? Nothing real changes. You want to wait? That's totally fine. I get that, man. I understand. Maybe it's a big decision. My only concern is that, I've had a ton of these calls. I speak to a lot of people. Someone tells me they want to wait a month, wait 6 months. That's cool. But my only concern is that you go wait 6 months, a year, you never end up doing this, man. I've seen this time and time again. So let's be real. You wait a week, you wait a month, you wait a year. What's the real difference? What's actually going to happen? When are you actually going to make a change? Nothing. The only guarantee is that you stay stuck right where you are today. And you asked me for a guarantee if this is going to be successful. And bro, I can honestly tell you, I can't guarantee you anything. You have to put this work in. The only thing that I can guarantee you, bro, is that if you leave this call today doing nothing, that's the only thing that's guaranteed not to help you. So what do you want to do? But if you commit today and you actually give yourself a chance to change the potential future of the trajectory of the rest of your life, what's the biggest risk for you? You taking action now or staying the same? Sales lesson number 8, energy management is crucial. Now, this is huge when you're taking a ton of calls, when you're taking 8, 10 calls a day. And this was for me when I first started out. What got me good at sales so quick, so fast in the early days, I just took a crash course in sales. Sales is not something where you watch a couple videos and you go through a course and you watch some cool Jeremy Miner or Cole Gordon videos. Sales is something you learn on the battlefield, in the trenches with the soldiers. You got to get in, you got to take calls. And I learned this first 3.5 months when I worked 7 days a week straight, taking 10 hours plus of calls a day, back to back. I didn't even have time to actually go and use the bathroom, let alone eat. I could eat only 1 meal a day, but I got good so quick because I just had that feedback loop and I just increased the failures and I got good quick. But my point is that your energy levels impacts your close rate. I learned to schedule my highest impact prospects, the ones I knew were going to take the most amount of my energy first thing in the day when I'm the freshest. Take your easier calls first. Close your follow-ups. You know you're going to get a quick win. You know you've already spoken to them, so get a quick win, get that under your belt. Now you have confidence. Now it doesn't matter what happens the rest of the day because you know that when you get on this call, you've already made a couple $1,000. Most closers don't think about this, but the prospect can sense your energy through the screen. If you're tired, if you're feeling a bit lazy, or if you're feeling a little bit burnt out, they're going to feel that. But if you woke up early, you tapped in, you went to the gym, you're ready to go, they're going to feel that confidence in you and they're going to want to buy from you because they know that you have subconsciously something that they don't have. So conserve your energy for when it really matters, when you need to actually reframe somebody's perspective, where you actually need to take them through a tough objection handling flow so that you can get more calls in a day, make more closes, and make more money. So what does this mean for your high ticket sales career? Look, these aren't just tips I'm giving you. These are exact strategies that I've used across multiple different offers, multiple different industries, B2B, D2C, from struggling to closing deals to going to 60% closing strategies in a matter of a few months, and now being one of the top guys in this space, ripping deals every single day. The difference between average closers and top tier killers isn't about talent or experience. It's about applying these fundamentals on every single one of your guys' calls. Working with these 8-figure creators completely changed how I approach high ticket sales. It showed me that having success in this space isn't about having the perfect script. It's about mastering the fundamentals that move the needle every single day. If you're interested in learning more about high ticket sales and how to build some of these same skills, I got a ton of other videos on my channel that break down this entire business model step by step. And if you're serious about getting started and want to learn the exact frameworks I use to close for these top creators, I do have a program where I work with people one-to-one and help them get on high converting offers. There's a link in my description with a quick video that just kind of walks you through it a little bit more if you want to check it out. But the most important thing is that you actually apply everything that you learned today on this video. I know a lot of you guys will watch this, think that you got value, think that you got motivation, and that's really just the dopamine that you're getting from watching this video, but you will actually only be able to change in your life if you actually take what you learned from this video and actually implement it. So I implore you, pick one of these things that I just went over, and on your next sales call or mock call, implement it and actually see how it will change your sales ability and actually improve your close rate. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you like this video. If you got some value, please subscribe for some more real sales training content, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.